Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Diocese of Paisley podcast with me, Vanda. I feel this episode is slightly different because it's not every day we get to hear such a raw and honest first-hand account of living and escaping from one of the world's most secretive regimes. And Timothy Cho's account is so captivating, we have produced a 3-episode series. This is episode 1. So I have come along this evening to St Joseph's in Clarkston to meet Lorraine McMahon and Peter Diamond from Aid to the Church in Need to find out more about this incredible event. Lorraine is the head of community outreach for the UK, and Peter, who you may remember from one of my previous episodes, is of course the community fundraiser for Scotland. This is such a huge and unique opportunity to hear an incredible first-hand account of life as a Christian in one of the world's most secretive states. I mean, how did this incredible opportunity come about?
To be honest, we were organising the Scottish Youth Rally, which takes place at Hamilton Town Hall. It took place yesterday, on Tuesday. So when we were discussing that, previously there was a live link. Last year there was a live link to Liberia, to a school, and the young people from Scotland, 600 young people come, and they could see their peers in Liberia, ask them questions. It was a great interaction, but technology is one of those things that you can't always rely on. Previous years, I think it was in Syria and maybe Lebanon, Ukraine, so it's been a real great feature of the rally, but we were discussing it, and the option was put to us, what if we could have someone in the room? North Korea came up, and ACN has a contact really who they've worked with before, and Timothy's name was put forward as someone that could come up. So it was one of those things that, well, we could share all these stories, but if we could share his and then say, and actually Timothy's here to speak to you young people, so that's what we did yesterday, and it worked really well. And we kind of thought, well, we have him up in Scotland, it would be too good an opportunity to miss, to have him not come to a parish. And St Joseph's is a place that has been on our radar for a while in the Diocese of Paisley.
And of course, it's the year for the Jubilee of Hope, and he is an inspiration of hope and what hope can do. And we said to the kids yesterday at the rally, your hope's in your heart, and no matter what you've got going on at home, if he can do this and he can turn that around, so can you. So keep the hope in your heart, because this man's a true witness of hope.
It's a really privileged position to have him up here speaking to people, because I think he was saying there's only 10 to 15 of people like him around the world in North Korea that are sharing the witness of what it was like to live there, to escape, and what it's like for him now.
So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Timothy Cho being interviewed by ACN's William Moore.
Tonight we are honoured to host a truly remarkable guest, Timothy Cho. Timothy's story is one of resilience, courage and faith in the face of unimaginable adversity. Born in North Korea, Timothy experienced firsthand the harsh realities of life under one of the world's most secretive and oppressive regimes. As a child, he grew up in an environment where freedom was a dream, faith was forbidden, and survival was never guaranteed. After enduring imprisonment and persecution, Timothy made the incredibly dangerous decision to escape, a journey that would test his strength, his hope, and his will to live. Now today, thank God, Timothy lives in the UK and is a passionate advocate for human rights, using his voice to share what so many inside North Korea cannot. His testimony not only opens our eyes to the truth, but also challenges us to respond with compassion, prayer, and action. Now, we've had Timothy with us since Monday, and we've taken him everywhere we can to make sure his voice gets heard to the widest audience. And he's already spoken by now to around 1,000 secondary school students, 700 in one go at one point. And he's been sharing his story, as you can imagine, and you'll experience tonight, to silence, to disbelief, but also he is a man of hope, and hopefully that is communicated to you tonight. We are very privileged to sit down with Timothy in this fireside chat, to listen, to learn, and to be inspired by his extraordinary journey. Please welcome Timothy Cho.
Thank you.
Could you begin tonight for us, just to set the scene for us, to tell us a little about what life is like in North Korea?
You will hear a lot of things about this country and how this regime threat goes, not just to persecuting its own people, but around the world. In many parts, they do many terrible things. But let me first show this picture of North Korea. And what do you see when you hear about North Korea? It is a country of map, and we all have technology these days. You can see what the country look like, but on Google satellite image, North Korea is dark. It's very dark. And until I escaped this country, I didn't know that was the actually dark country I lived through, because you couldn't see anything when I was in there, what was going on outside. Because we were not allowed to see anything, and there's no phone, no internet, even until today. I have some friends, and friends from escaped one of the more terribly persecuted countries, including Iran and Eritrea, Yemen. But some of them still able to communicate with their family members, either over the phone or Zoom. Of course, the government tapping them and watching, listen to them. But at least they could see on the screen and say hi to each other. And North Korea, we can't. The only way we can communicate with our family members using smuggled mobile phone, and on the Chinese border using Chinese signal, and maximum 20 minutes you can speak. If it goes over, the regime can detect your signal. So the family are arrested, then end up in prison camp. And there are many Christians and missionaries who are still working on this country, but still the amount of work we can go inside is quite a small level of work to do that. And in which there are underground Christians are not able to gathering like this today. We have worship and reading the Bible, and so this was the part of North Korea I was born. But I can tell you that when I grew up in this country, and until my childhood life, it looked like a normal childhood life. Go to school and nursery, and spending time with friends, coming home, watching cartoons, or sometimes swimming and with friends together, playing outside. But why I didn't realize there was a life from the beginning, from morning till the evening, how this pattern of your life was being structuralized, brainwashed into indoctrination of this society. And later, and since my time has been in the UK and democratic part of it, why it encouraged me to speak out, because I was able to discover why I was victim and victimized, and many millions of people in this country. When you start work in some of the children can work 12 months or after maybe 2 years, but when most of the children are able to walk in North Korea, the first thing parents usually tell in North Korea is you have to buy Kim family picture frames. So every house, every public buildings in North Korea, they have a Kim family picture frame on the wall. You first thing learn how to bow to Kim family picture frame. what that means. You grow up your life and in a space and circumstance, every morning you think obliged you have to bow to that picture frame. If you're nursery age now, you go to nursery and start of your morning or day everyday session, you sing for the king and with the picture and who is this guy, what they are doing, how they wake up, how intelligent they are. All this kind of history of first king, second king, or even the daily thing, what you eat, drink. That was, we were told, give thanks to the Kim family because we were able to drink and eat. And it started from that young age.
So is the Kim family presented as a god?
Well, definitely think, speak, act as Kims. That was the beginning of this education in North Korea. It kept on even until today. And then every equipment around you, let's say you have TV in North Korea. Yes, they have TV. And they only leave one channel. So you turn the TV on, and it's Kim family program. And if you buy a bicycle and any public transport even, it's not belong to you. You have to get license from the government. And they don't know what salary means, actually, the system inside. So man still have to go to work, but they work, who they work for, they structuralized this system of they work for the Kim family, the party and society. And so there are two types of brainwashing education here. One, having mentioned from early age, and brainwashing you to think, act, speak as the Kims. They are not part of any kind of religious education in this country. In fact, what to memorize, what to think, what to speak of, act, and listen to songs, program, document, film, cartoons, anything subjected, it means Kim's is your God. When you look at top 10 persecuted countries around the world, number 1 is North Korea. The rest 9 countries all come from Africa or Middle Eastern countries because they're Muslim countries, the rest 9. But North Korea, what do you identify? Is it Christian? Is it Hindu? Muslim? Or even we say a Buddhist country? No. They don't have any identification. Then why for decades in these countries on top of Christian persecution? It's because Kim has to be God. It's like a Bible. Their biography is like a Bible. But what's interesting to me is that when I go back to that time, I still remember reading first Kim's biography. There is in part, Kim mentions that he used to go to church following his mom. And he said that, and he was baptized when he was 11 actually. And he also says, I used to go to church because church gave him sweet every Sunday. Then further traced by his mom, who was a Christian, very faithful Christian, who she was baptized by Billy Graham father-in-law. There were many missionaries, including Billy Graham father-in-law, missionaries from Scotland, England, other part of Western countries. They came to Korea, built churches, schools, hospitals, universities. Even the Korean king and royal family members were learning English from these missionaries. In 1907, there was a great revival went. And after 1903 Welsh revival, and 1907, there was a revival called a Great Revival of Pyongyang. So there was not two separate Koreas that time, it was one Korea. You can search on Google, revival in Pyongyang 1907. Everyone knelt and repentant. And many Christians called Korea was the second Jerusalem of the East. Then what happened? That once the holy name was given, why it gone to the darkest, most suppressed and persecuted country in the world? This is the part of it. There used to over 3,000 churches in Korea and across the North Korea. Just I'm talking about part of North Korea used to have. In Pyongyang itself had a giant 9 big churches. Not irony, on the church side today there are Kim family statues. Mega massive Kim family statues. You have the Baptist statue. People are worshiping Kim every day, which I did. And that part I actually didn't know. I was being educated and brainwashed into this system, but I genuinely believed Kim was my God. When I was 7, then first Kim died. And for 3 days I didn't eat and I didn't sleep well. And I went and walked. Age 7, I went to top of the mountain and tried to collect some natural flowers and tried to give him my respect. And that's something I could do because I was so sad my God died. And came back to school. All kids were crying in tears. And some people were banging the floor. And the news said, oh, our God died. So even the sky was so sad. It was raining season actually. And I asked my father. My father was a history teacher in high school. And my mom was a math teacher. So I grew up within the family of respected in my town. But my father told me when I asked him, Father, are we all going to die because our God died? And my father was in tears. He asked me to sit there, and I sat there, and he told me, son, he's not died. He lives in our heart. He's our eternal leader. Now we are following the second Kim. So they not died. They still live. North Korean calendar started counting it from the day the first Kim was born. So this year count something 104 or 5 like that. Because they count him as never sun goes down. Dear great, whatever supreme leader of Kim. What the third Kim today have, he carries on the heritage, the inheritance of the Kim's supremacy, which today is still. But then, why then this country has to be completely blockaded? Because they cannot tell you the truth of outside. Why Bible massively persecuted any Bible? I'm holding this very smallest Bible. Have you ever seen this smallest Bible in your life? It doesn't even call Bible. It's a New Testament here. It translated in North Korean term language. And tens of thousands of these Bibles have been smuggled into North Korea. But you cannot call this Bible. Because once it discovered, you know what consequence is going to happen to them. We can compare to early Christians, where Romans came, chased groups, gathered in praying, and killed them or arrested, put them in prison, which exactly in North Korea only few people can gather. There are underground Christians, there are underground. My grandmother, my father's mother was a Christian, which I did not know. I heard this after I met my father in South Korea several years ago. And then I told my father, why didn't you tell me earlier? Well, I couldn't tell you that. Because once you shared it, how dangerous you share it around your school, then police come to take you away. And she was one of the revival generations from go back to early 1900. And she continued to receive the Bible, kept in a hidden place. And sometimes at midnight she went and praying. And when all her children, 7 children, one of them was my father, and they were in bed. This was the society I grew up. And every Christmas period in North Korea, they have their own Christmas version because Kim itself is religion and God. So they every 24th December, we wear so nice clothes. Students, grown-up people, and elderly people, whole across the country, you have your own Christmas carol. But that Christmas carol is they sing for the first Kim's wife's birthday is 24th December. So from 23rd, 24th, 5th, 6th, 7th until New Year, They have a lot of organized meetings and campaigns, and they are preparing to respect the Kim family, how we're going to serve them more and love them more next year. This is every year repeating, they do that. And definitely I believed Kim was my God, and second Kim, I also believed like a picture of like Jesus, because they portray story of the second Kim. He was born in a very old house and in Paektu Mountain, and that's where they make it their own justification where Kim family come from. But when he was born, a giant star above the roof appeared, which they brought the story of Jesus with the second Kim. And so they have a pilgrimage in North Korea. First Kim's pilgrimage, second Kim's pilgrimage, you walk 10,000 miles. So it's a kind of a very honorable thing if you picked up to go onto that pilgrimage journey. And there is no way they can allow to have information flow around the country. That's why they even executing today, because we smuggle not just the religious material and Bible and other things, we also smuggle Korean songs, South Korean songs and dramas, films, news from outside, or some of the radio transmission going into North Korea early in the morning. So if you live near Chinese border, you turn the TV, the antenna at China direction, because if they have a strong signal where you can catch it. So people, although you have only one TV channel, or if you have any radio, then you change the channel if you can catch it, so move around. Most of them, they listen to that radio or using that TV to try to watch something outside the news and early in the morning or very late at night, which I did also had a chance to listen to a couple of news from outside, but still that was beyond my imagination and whole that period I was living in North Korea through that brainwashing. Then from what point I was looking at, I was realizing what kind of society I was living in this country. It was when my parents escaped to China. And my father was one of the early period group of people escaped to China. He suffered himself a lot, conscious that he had to teach the young generation twisted history. North Korea cut away the history behind the 1945. They only count since 1945. And that was after Second World War, North Korea was able to come up, establish a communist dictatorship society. The first Kim was becoming a leader by Stalin's nomination.
Please join us next time when we will learn more about Timothy's childhood in North Korea and how he discovered that there was a world beyond the Kim's regime. Thank you for listening, and please remember to like and subscribe to our podcast.